All right, good morning. Thanks for joining Your News Arizona. And we this morning we have a special guest with us, Blaine Cooper. Good morning, Blaine.
Good morning.
So,
Welcome.
how's everything? How's everything going out there in Illinois?
Well, I mean, in the words of Donald Trump, it's a shithole, but I make the best of it.
That's a,
Sorry.
that's a,
Must
well,
be in
that's
the
a good way to
Chicago
say it.
suburbs.
Yeah. I mean, it's not bad. I guess the good thing about it is I started a tree company out here, so there's plenty of trees to cut down. I'm not going to run out of work anytime soon. Of course, with winter, it's slow. We've had a really wild winter with snow, and then it got to like 70 degrees one day, and a tornado wiped out a bunch of power lines, and we had church in the dark. So it's a bit
Wow.
bit different out here. A bit bipolar weather.
Have you guys
Bipolar.
had a lot? Have you guys had a lot of snow out there this year?
It snowed quite a bit and it hung around for a while. I want to say we probably had maybe 2 feet um, within a week period. Um, and then and we're kind of snowed in there for a little bit, but then it just kind of the rain came and it was gone.
Right. Blaine, you want to give my audience a little introduction of who you are?
Sure, my name is Blaine Cooper. I'm from Arizona originally. My parents were police officers for 30 years in the city of Phoenix, and I got involved in the Patriot movement after I confronted John McCain to be arrested for treason at a town hall meeting in Prescott. That video is available. Probably dig it up somewhere. It was a long time ago. Of course, that happened. That would have probably been, gosh, I can't even remember when that was, but it had been before 2014. And out of that, I had a big following. I had the FBI show up in my house over it. They interrogated me for 45 minutes for a Facebook comment I made about government overreach and things like that. And I said, what's the American people supposed to do if the arm of the government becomes so powerful to the point the legal system no longer, when we're running in, talk of revolution territory, like what would that look like? And it was just totally a hypothetical comment, but they felt that they had reason to come in there and interrogated me. My buddy, Jason Kaufman from the Prescott Valley Police Department called me and said, "Hey, the feds are here. They want to talk to you." And I was like, "What? For what?"
Wow.
Anyway, so I got a big following on that. The Police US at the time, it was called Police State USA, I think, did an article on it and did an interview with me. And so, overnight I got a lot of followers. And out of that started branching off into border operations because the border was getting overrun. And that would have been under the Obama administration where they were just kind of hamstringed to do anything. They weren't allowed to defend themselves, and people were throwing rocks at them and things like that. It was just chaos. There was
Right.
no defense. And so I started getting involved with that. That's where I started meeting people like Tim Foley with Arizona
Arizona,
Border Recon, which is a very
Arizona. Yeah.
credible. Um, he's a good guy, and I enjoyed going down there because he's very professional with his operations. It's not your fly by seat of the night type of thing where some people have done that you probably wouldn't want to be a part of. But so we and basically I was there more in a media capacity, just trying to figure out what's going on with my country, of it being invaded and overrun. And so out of that started coming more of like we were protesting in front of the White House for amnesty, and then the Bundy Ranch happened. And then we started seeing videos come out of the Bundy Ranch of them, the chaos that was going in there in Bunkerville at the Virgin River, canines being sick, let loose on children, tasing people for trying to defend their. You couldn't even walk down the Virgin River without having AR-15 rifles pointed at your head from the Bureau of Land Management and Forest Service out there.
Right.
And so the Bundy's argument was the Constitution says federal government can't even own land. under
Mm.
the Constitution, but that it was only supposed to be for military bases, dockyards, and other needful, useful buildings, not 100,000 acres for a bird refuge, so to speak,
Right.
like in Oregon. And so when we saw that, we loaded up with guns and we went out there to go protest, and voice our First and Second Amendment. Um, and we probably said some things we shouldn't have. And but it was mostly it was peaceful in every sense of the word. We weren't there to cause chaos. We weren't there to harm anybody. But the media got a hold of that and of course spun it and said we were right wing terrorists and racist and white supremacists and all that, even though we had people of all different races there. I mean, we were like, that's not what we stand for. We were called anti-government, anti-federal government. I said, we are not anti-government. We believe in law and order. So what we're here is a rancher is being oppressed, and they actually to the point to where they called out snipers and stuff, and they were hiding in the mountains to shoot the family members.
Whoa.
So we felt that this was a time in history where we needed to make a stand and tell them, hey, this is too much. You guys need to
Yeah.
back off this. And so, but at that point, it was just a protest function. And Clyde Bundy had the sheriff was there and said, hey, I want him out of here. Now, their reasons behind that, of course, were for the endangered desert tortoise, is why he couldn't graze his cattle up there. And that was the first. That was the first thing they said. So but I think they were live on air and they were talking to CNN and they said, are you talking about the same endangered tortoise you guys were euthanizing by the thousands last month? And so they
Right.
kicked them off the air, cut the mic. We're like, okay,
Wow.
so
Yeah.
well, then they changed the narrative and said it was for unpaid grazing fees. And he's like, well, I never got a bill. So they said, oh, well, you owe us $1 million in unpaid grazing fees, which I guess he did pay, but it was in the state coffers because it's not supposed to go to the federal government.
Right.
Right.
So they hired in cattle rustlers and rounded up all his cattle.
No.
And so it was kind of he told everybody there, all the militia guys, go get my cattle. So we all went down there and, some people pointed rifles at the federal agents on the bridge. And it would have been Eric Parker was one of them that did that, who was a hell of a patriot. But they were pointing rifles at women and children. So at that point,
Whoa.
we said, well, if you're going to shoot women and children, we're going to shoot back.
Right.
Was kind of the general rhetoric they were giving the people. It was kind of general census. And a long story short, the sheriff told the federal agents leave, and they all left and got the
Wow.
cattle back. And then that was that. Not one shot was.
Wow.
I think we just lost Blaine.
Yeah. Whoa.
Well, he's still there.
Sorry about that.
Oh, there we
There you
go.
are.
Here. Hey.
So the long story short, they all left, and it's the freest place in the union. I don't think there was any federal presence there for years. And now a lot of us remain back with the family for as a security function, for the Bundys, just to why things cooled down and things could get worked out legally in the legal system. But other than that, that was that, and never
Right.
really
Wow.
heard anything more about it.
Wow.
So after that was over, it went into pretty much this movement for ranchers' land rights or land rights for ranchers. The federal government overreach over ranchers, and
Right.
then we were getting calls. We had one sugar pine mine in Oregon. Same deal. A guy was mining out there. Federal government was trying to push him off his gold mine, and it seems this is kind of a pattern. Anytime there's resources or something they want, they're gonna push people off to
Right.
get it. Water
Right.
rights or whatever, and
Right.
but that was more of an administrative function. That was more Oath Keeper based than it was Bundy based, and
Right.
same deal. They got it worked out with the courts, got them a court date and things like that, and then we moved on.
That's
Of course,
great.
Stuart Rhodes could give you more background on that. He was kind of more of the leader of the operation there of everything that was going on. And then,
Now, Stuart, do they still have Stuart Rhodes locked up?
no, I believe he's out. He's been pardoned. So,
Oh, he has been pardoned.
yeah,
Good.
yeah. So, and
So those of you guys out there that don't know a lot about the Bundys and different things, um, And this is a book right here that Ammon Bundy's wife sent to me. Um, excuse me, not Ammon Bundy. Lavoy Finnecum's wife sent me. Sorry about that. And this is Only by Blood and Suffering. If you guys have not had a chance to read this book, I highly recommend you get it and read it. There is so much truth in this book; it's unbelievable. Yeah, it
Wow.
describes, and if you guys don't know anything about Lavoy Finnecum, he was another victim as well in this. Um,
Yes, sir.
he he was protecting these ranchers and different people. He was actually on his way to go meet with a sheriff that day when they gunned
Yes, he
him down.
was.
It was cold blood murder. I'm going to call it what it is. The
Whoa.
federal government assassinated him, is what they did. And it has my blood to this day boiling over it. And this
Mm.
has been, God, how many years ago was this for LeBoy now?
Wow.
Oh boy, I think we
But
were picked up and arrested. I want to say, what was that? Maybe 2016, February 26,
that, that's,
2016.
yeah, that's
And
about right.
Wow.
should I give you a little background on that? Of
Yeah.
so
Oh, absolutely.
so
Please.
so
Yeah.
when that happened, basically, I'm going to give you kind of what I know, and of course, Ammon and other people can give you a lot more information on this, as they were more deeply involved, even though I was pretty deeply involved. But um, the way I understand it was the federal government been trying to push the Hammonds off for a long time,
Right.
and now supposedly there's audio transcripts from dispatch from this with the Forest Service and BLM, but they refused to sell to the federal government. Basically, no, we're not giving up our land.
Mhm.
And there was a storm that came in, and so they said burn the effing Hammond Ranch to the ground. And they drip torched it and tried to burn the ranch to the ground. And then so the Hammonds lit a backburn to put out the government fire. Well,
Right.
because they lit federal grass on fire, they charged them with domestic terrorism and drug them. They got drugged through the federal courts, I guess,
Yeah,
forever. It was a bad
that's
deal. And so in the end, they lost, and there's a mandatory prison sentence for lighting federal grass on fire for 5 years.
right.
The judge in the case ruled it was cruel and unusual punishment, ordered them released. Case done, right? Over and
Right.
done
Right.
with, justice
Stink.
been served, whatever.
Right.
Well, years later, a new prosecutor and judge said that judge ruled wrong, reopened the case, and ordered him to prison for that 5 years.
No.
Whoa, that's
No.
double jeopardy in a nutshell. You can't,
Yeah.
no, the case has already
Bullshit.
been
No.
decided.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
anyway, so we got involved and we went over there and we tried to meet with the sheriff there in Burns, Oregon, and he
Right.
barricaded himself in the sheriff department, and we were peaceful. There was no reason for him to do this,
Mhm.
um, and they refused to talk to us, refused to try to help the Hammonds. The governor at the time would not meet with us, would not, nobody. So we were ignored anytime we tried to get remedy in a meaningful, peaceful, administrative way.
Right.
And so we had a big protest in Burns, Oregon, and there's videos of that, and
Yep.
where we threw pennies at the sheriff, for selling his town out to the federal government. And Ammon Bundy, and he just says, we're all going to go take over the refuge and occupy it. And
Right.
so we went into the refuge and we occupied it for 43 days because he felt national media attention. It would get enough attention on there to get people to listen.
Mhm.
And, it turned out we're just going to stay there for years and just use the land for beneficial use. And so
Right.
he was trying to go under the law of adverse um, possession. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but if you
Mhm.
can occupy it for a certain amount of years, then legally you get the
Right.
land.
You
But
own it. Yep. Right.
Wow.
anyway, it was more for to me to get attention to try to help the Hammonds because
Right.
they're a peaceful, loving family. You know, they've done nothing wrong, and it'd be like grandma and grandpa getting picked up for something stupid, and then you know, he would have
Right.
died in prison probably.
Yeah.
And
Oh, sure.
so anyway, long story short, you know, they end up having to go to prison, and then 42 or 43 days in the occupation, somewhere around that timeline, the Bundys and Lavoy and them, I guess, left to go to John Day. Is it John Day? It was a county over to do a,
Yep.
a constitutional meeting with people in the town because they wanted to
Right.
help educate people on the Constitution and freedom and what their rights were. And
So they
I
left
had,
their property, is what you're saying. They left their property and went over to for a meeting just to
yeah.
live
So
life.
the
Right.
so basically the leaders broke off to go over there. Now I was not in the loop, so when they were gone, I was like, where did everybody go? And which was, you know, so a lot of the militia guys were back there just kind of on their own, and so we're just kind of waiting for them to get back. That
Mhm.
night, I got a call from Lisa Mundy, who said Lavoy had been killed, and then
Right.
I just turned white. I was like, "What?"
Oh,
I could not believe what I was hearing.
oh,
Right.
Um, give you a little backstory. Me and Lavoy got pretty close at the refuge, and 2 days prior to this, me and him were sitting down. We had a long talk, and he said to me, "Make sure my body gets buried on my ranch."
Right.
oh
I'm like,
man.
"Why are you saying that, bro?" You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like,
Oh,
we're not going to die. We're just protesters. We're not here to, you
yeah,
know.
no. He,
And
yeah.
Right.
Mm,
so I had like it was kind of weird because thinking back on it, I was like, gosh, did he know? He was a very Lavoy was a very spiritual man. The guy never even had a parking ticket. He had like 22 foster kids. Um,
Right.
had a ranch in Arizona. Had a beautiful wife named Jeanette, great lady,
Yep.
and
Yep.
it was
Well,
just
the
I
boy.
was pretty shocked. So then I'm
Yeah.
like, what do you want us to do? Because everybody had been picked up in
Right.
man.
leadership, and
Wow.
at that point, to me, the smartest move was we should probably just leave out of here peacefully. Um, we're not going to serve any purpose staying here, even though a lot of people wanted to stay and shoot it out or whatever. And I'm like, look, if you do something like that, this is probably a conspiracy case now, and so anything you do is going to reflect everything.
Right.
So
Right.
the best thing to do, let the courts handle it at this point. But so some of us left out of there. I was one of them. We tried to get in. At that point, we were worried that they were just going to kill us
Right.
Yes, of
after what happened
course.
over there. So I
Of
said,
course.
let's
Why
let's
wouldn't
get
you
out of
be?
here. Let's try to get to Nevada, get to the Bundy Ranch, or get somewhere where we
Mhm.
can have a defensive position, and
Right.
so this
But
can be
man,
peaceful, so we don't get killed.
right.
And of course, the other people stayed back, like Jason Patrick and a few others, and Sean Anderson, Corey LeQ was there. All great people. Dwayne Emer, great guy. I don't know if you know Dwayne. He rides a horse with his flag and loved the
Yep.
guy to death. And just at that point, it was just chaos. Thank God nobody else was killed on it. Um,
Wow.
and of course, Jason Patrick, he came down with health problems and he ended up taking his own life
Oh,
Yeah.
not too long ago. So that was, and but he
Well,
very
Blaine.
passionate guy. It just
Yeah.
it's a huge loss, and it's weird how it worked out.
Yeah.
And of course, I
Blaine.
got
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
just want to say something. The way they set Lavoy up, though. So he was traveling. I think it was on. God, was it 97? No, it was on a back road. I know that,
Hmm.
and they had it worked out. These snipers and everybody did.
Yes.
They had it worked out till they wait. They knew he was en route to go meet with the sheriff to have a heart-to-heart meeting, and this is all set up to hold 9 yards. So he's traveling. They wait until he's out of cell phone range to be able to reach out to anybody at all, including the sheriff that he is going to go meet with.
Yep.
And, and
wow.
that's where they set up. That's where they set up the block and everything. Um, when they gunned Lavoy down that day in the snow, they claimed he was reaching for a gun. You got to keep in mind when you're shot and you grab like that, that's not reaching for a gun. That's grabbing for where you're shot at. You
Right.
point
Right.
Right.
and clear. They left the man overnight, is what I heard from his daughter. Overnight in the snow,
So,
uh,
was he by
and
himself in the car?
no, he had a group of people
No.
in the
So
car
let's
with him as well.
Oh
if you
my
want,
God.
you can watch the whole video of it transpiring actually because everybody was filming during this time. But
Oh my God.
there was an informant, and I don't know if I should say his name. So for now, I just won't say nothing. But basically, the way I understand it, led him into this, and the so it was basically an ambush. They blocked him from behind, and he went forward. He says, "I'm going to go get the sheriff." And so
Right.
he was speeding forward. Well, they had the roadblock up at front too, and so he actually swerved out of the way because there was an officer there. So he didn't want to hit the officer and crash into the embankment.
Right.
Now
Okay.
they had FBI snipers in the trees,
Oh my
and at
God.
this point, even before he got there, they're already firing bullet holes into the truck.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so he gets out of the truck with his hands in the air, and they're just blasting him. Now the gun
Oh
that
my
they say he
God.
went for, uh, the way I understand it, his gun was left back at the refuge because I remember seeing it there.
Yep. That's what I
Oh
And
heard.
my
so,
God.
but they said they did say they found a firearm on him. I don't know how it got him, if they planted it or if he did have it. But
Wow.
as far as I knew, the gun that
Wow.
he always carries was not with him.
Right.
So
Dang.
the FBI agents, well, one of them anyway, ended up getting indicted. They picked up their shell casings and lied about firing the shots after a Dutchess County Sheriff investigation. So,
Right.
Wow.
I mean, you talk about conspiracy overload. I mean,
Man.
it just was
Jiminy.
crazy. And
Yeah.
I believe he was the face that and voice they wanted to put an end to.
Yeah.
And so they found a way to make sure that he couldn't talk.
And correct
That's
me if I'm
horrible.
wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, Blaine. That FBI agent was never charged, though.
I think he was charged, and I thought he was acquitted,
Well, that's what I'm
but
Oh,
hearing.
that's even
I don't
worse.
know.
Oh my God.
I just remember seeing a report
Wow.
on it.
Yeah.
But
You
Wow.
want to
according,
you
of course, everybody's getting round up and throwing on a conspiracy case. We're trying to get out, so really didn't have time to really think about it, honestly.
right.
Mhm.
And anyway, we all get arrested. We all get put on the indictment, 63-page indictment that sounds like you know, just a load of garbage. It was a Facebook indictment. That was their evidence.
Right.
And
Oh,
so years we sat there, and then, right away, people just started pleading out. A couple people pleaded out early and said they were going to testify against me and everything else, which forced me into a plea. And then we couldn't get out of it. And then just
Right.
kind of sat there waiting to get sentenced for years. And then the Bundys got acquitted in the Oregon case, and
Right.
they, so and then the case in the Nevada against him got dismissed with prejudice. Now there were some people who went to the first trial who were either acquitted or found guilty.
Right.
Only one person is still in there, and that's Greg Burleson, and he broke off from the group to go to trial on his own and was convicted, and they gave him 63 years.
Right. And he's still incarcerated.
whoa.
He's still in there, and he's blind and diabetic. I'd like to see if we can get Trump's here to at least get him commuted so he can, have some freedom. Um,
I
because
mean, to what
everybody
purpose?
else is free, and if they were acquitted and
Wow.
the case was dismissed with prejudice, everybody should be pardoned on it.
Right.
To me, that means, wait a minute. So you forced us into pleas. It's a wrongful conviction. We weren't
Yes.
obviously we weren't guilty. If the Bundys were acquitted, full
Right.
acquittal in the Oregon
Yep.
case, and the case was dismissed with prejudice in the Nevada case, then everybody should be benefit from that. Everybody that
Yep.
should
You,
be white clear done. To
Should
me,
be.
that would be fair justice. But
Right. Should be.
well, it sounds like we need to get Donald Trump to give a pardon to everybody. 100% part.
Right.
That would be great if
Absolutely.
we could and to look in, maybe even look into this, into these cases of the people that were involved, and have some accountability there, because they had 9 Brady violations during the Bundy Ranch case while it was going on. So there's a lot of corruption going on, and then
Yeah.
it was really never rectified.
Well,
Oh no, absolutely not. Wow.
Cash,
I'm so sorry you had to go through all this crap. Man,
yeah,
that's
It was a
horrific.
bad deal. I kind of, to be honest with you, sitting all that time in prison, I was just lost. Um,
Hmm.
my wife at the time, I mean, she lost her marbles, and when I got out, I had my sneaker shoes from prison and a pair of sweats. Nothing.
right.
Nobody
Wow.
out. Nobody helped me, and I had to live in my truck for years until I rebuilt my life.
Wow.
And
Well,
it's
you
been
know,
over 10.
Cash Patel. I think it was Cash Patel that did this. He 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 turned around and made an announcement at the FBI ceremony thing, where he is more or less applauding the people from back then, and I think it was Jeanette that came unglued about it, and I think she was supposed to be going to Washington D.C. to call them all out on it.
I
Did you
think they
hear about that?
rescinded. I think they rescinded those medals, from what I
Perp,
understand.
perp. I hope so.
But
Um,
like
yeah,
I said, I just kind of caught wind of that. So, but I
but
know that we were pretty upset that they were praising the FBI
yeah,
agents.
that gun down
Daniel
boy.
P. Love, there's another scumbag that needs
Yeah,
to be investigated. So there's a lot of things that need to be looked into. That he actually, I think Daniel P. Love ended up getting promoted. So I mean, it
yeah,
just
he
doesn't
did.
make any sense.
So
So
what I'd love to see is I'd love to see the Trump administration and these guys open up a whole brand new investigation on this, since we're no longer under
Oh yeah.
the Biden
oh, absolutely.
administration.
Now that we got a cleaned out FBI, we can
Yeah,
probably do
and
something, even though I don't
so
trust them really for
so
nothing.
I'm
Well, no,
so
yeah.
But
we're gonna
we
go
got
ahead
good
we're gonna
reasons here.
go we're gonna go ahead and get some information out to some certain individuals that we have connection with.
Also, I might add, Donald Trump did pardon Hammonds when he got elected at that time. So that would have
Awesome.
been on his first
Yeah,
presidency. So
yeah. So I think we need to put some pressure on them, get them to reopen this investigation,
Hmm.
and I'd like
For
to see
sure.
these FBI. I'd like to see these FBI guys that were corrupt be held accountable, and for everybody to be pardoned in this matter,
Yeah.
and yeah, and give it a clean slate. As far as I'm concerned, I feel in my heart, Blaine, they owe you guys restitution as well for what they put
well,
you through, your
Oh, for
families through,
sure.
uh,
Yes.
the
I did.
Bundys through.
I do think
My
there should be some reparations, but I mean,
yep,
to me, it's just not going to bring back Lavoy. It's not going to
yep,
bring back the years that were lost.
yep.
And
Right.
That,
my
I
It's not
think
main
going to
thing is
bring
I don't
back
want
the
it to
broken
happen to anybody
relationship.
else. I don't want
Yeah.
this to happen to people.
Right. Right.
I think Jeanette Finnegan should be well compensated for the murder of her husband, um, and and what they have put her through. She's an amazing, strong woman, and I have stayed in contact with her over the years. And just what they have put her through, and it's unbelievable. And I want to see people to this day held accountable. Um, this is the kind of stuff that we just can't just keep sweeping under the rug, forgetting about it. When you got corrupt son of a bitches still walking the street and getting away with murder,
Mhm.
and that's
So
exactly
in
what they
this,
did.
yeah,
That's murder.
and this again, this is just more proof of how corrupt every element is.
Yeah,
All the way, the judges, the courts. We're tired of it.
Well,
This is
like they say,
craziness now.
it's a two-tier justice system. I'd say it's like a 1,000-tiered justice system because it's
yeah,
just
Right.
so much chaos.
Yep.
and the whole thing. It's hard to make sense of, to be honest with you. And
Well, to this day, they still have never let up on Ammon Bundy. My understanding, they just got done taking his
oh yeah,
ranch, everything he owns. Um, he's from what I'm being told, and I haven't been able to confirm it yet. He's down to living in a travel trailer right now, and this is a
unreal.
man that went from having a ranch, a life, a beautiful, loving family, that down to nothing, all over a corrupt justice system out there.
You know, they really put Ammon Bundy through the ringer.
Yep,
And you gotta admire him. He's a very bold,
yep,
spiritual person, and he does not back down. And he's and the way he's persecuted for it is it's sad because
yep.
he don't deserve that. None of us did.
Yeah, no,
Well,
exactly.
my my motto in this, Blaine, is there's some things that are just worth fighting for, no matter what the
Mhm.
cost is. And
Yep,
you know,
Absolutely.
and I
yep,
100% support, Ammon Bundy's just fighting this whole ordeal. I mean, for him to never surrender, never give in, um, speaks volumes.
yep,
Yeah, it takes it does take a certain amount of fortitude on a person, and the biggest thing about that, if you're not, you got to put God first in it, because you got to let
Amen.
let Jesus fight those battles with you, because I mean, he's got control over it, so he's just got to. It says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but spiritual wickedness and principalities in high places. And
Well,
isn't that
my
kind of what we're? I mean, even Trump's fighting
yeah,
them every
my,
day.
my my famous words: God gives us hardest battles to his strongest soldiers. And you
Amen.
know what? We're God's soldiers, and we're boots on the ground. And we just got to
yep,
continue to get this message out there. And I want to see an end put to this corrupt government that was under the Biden, Obama regime, the whole 9 yards. I mean, this has been a
yep.
corrupt judicial system for a lot of years. And
Long
you know, I
time.
know I know the Trump administration has been trying to get it cleaned up, but I still think he's got a lot of work left to do.
Oh yeah, we
Oh,
definitely got a fight ahead of us, and that's
Yep.
kind. I mean, if you think about it, we've been fighting since the birth of the nation. 250 years or whatever, because
true.
freedom is a never ending battle, because there's always
Yes,
those that want to take it.
Yep.
yes,
And when you lose certain freedoms, they're hard to get back, because they don't just give up their power.
right.
So
Absolutely.
for our viewing audience out there, we are going to give Mr. Blaine Cooper here a couple hour program show on our Q broadcast station that's going to be up and running here. And I'd love for you to be able to get your message out there to the world and, and share your footage and have a broadcast there, Blaine.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Uh, I mean, this it's people like you that have stayed in the fight as well, and you have been through complete hell yourself. And for you to rebuild your life, you've got a great tree service going out there in Illinois of God knows all places to live. But you know,
It's
I
funny
mean,
how I ended up here, but
yep. But
I did, and I got 9 kids altogether, and
yep.
it's a
But you
but
made a
we
life for
manage.
yourself.
We get it done.
Yep. But you made a life for yourself. You've never given in, and you just keep pushing forward. And my
Yes,
hats
sir.
off to you for that. And yeah, but Blade, I believe you were writing a book too, didn't you?
I'm sorry.
Did you ever write a book?
I have not. A lot of people tell me I need to write a book about it, and I'm probably
Sure.
going to eventually. Um, so I'm kind of thinking about getting a ghostwriter to do it, but I really don't really know a lot about how to go about it, to be honest with you.
Right.
I have a friend who's a
Because there's a
self-publisher,
lot
so
of
maybe
people
I can
that need
help.
to be in the book. Oh, that'd be great. There's a lot of people that need to be in the book, and so I'd kind of like
Right.
to reach out to them so they can have their say.
Sure.
And because and I don't want to put words in their mouth or speak on their behalf. But they, want to make sure everybody is on board with it.
Right.
They have.
So,
Your story is your story, unique to you, just like
That's it. That's it.
yeah.
everyone
I'll
else
give them a
has
heads
their
up
own
anyway.
unique story, Yeah.
How many years total? How many years total, Blaine, did they have you incarcerated?
All together, gosh, I want to say it was probably about 2 years. Um,
Two years.
got out on probation, and then they violated my probation for not having a verifiable residence. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, what do you want me to do? You won't let me live anywhere else.
Right.
So they actually had me living in a hotel room, sending them the receipts.
Wow.
And then I ran out of money to do that. And I said, I mean, I need to go here for work. What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
And then the probation officer I had was a very, very horrible person. So and she had numerous complaints on her.
Wow.
I made a complaint too, but in the end, she ended up saying they were going to violate my probation. So I left. I said, "Well, I'm going to Illinois. You can come get me there," and they did. The U.S. Marshals showed up here in Illinois in Creve Coeur, and they flew me back on a private jet back to Arizona. And I went in front of the judge, and I told the judge, I said, "Hey, whatever I got to do to be done with this, I do not want to be put back on probation. I do not want to have to deal with them ever again." And
Right.
so I don't care if that's 10 years. I just don't want any probation. So he ordered 15 more months, and I went to Greenville prison for another 15
Wow.
months. And then once I was released from there, I started a tree company and rebuilt from there.
So let me
Literally
understand
rebuilt.
this.
Yeah, didn't have a lot
So
to work with. But
Good.
so let me understand this. You're living in a motel. You can no longer afford to live in the motel. So you're going to Illinois to work. They turn around and incarcerate you because you went to go work, even though you told them you're going to Illinois to work,
Hmm.
and they give you another 15 months.
yep.
Unbelievable.
Well, and I told the judge, I
Crazy,
said, I've already
man.
done so much time on this. Just, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know if it's in your power to do so. Just free me. You know,
Yeah.
I need to just live my life. I
Wow.
can't have this probation department. The probation department is I guess it's good if you have money.
Oh, it's
But
a joke. Yeah. It's a joke.
but even then, it's kind of, yeah. I mean, they order all kinds of stuff for you to do that have nothing to do with anything. It honestly, probation needs to be cleaned out and restructured for
Right.
Yep.
in it.
Yep.
And it's funny because I don't drink, I don't do drugs. Um,
Yeah.
you would think I'd be a perfect candidate for it, but it just
Right.
ended up just being a shit show, really. And I'm glad it's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you
That's
were just
good.
a man. You were just a man trying to move on with your life, to have stability, to have a job, and they incarcerate you
Yep.
for that. Doesn't
Yep.
speak volumes at all for the government.
No,
That's
no. I
horrible.
mean, it just
That, that's
they have
pun.
a
That
certain way they want you to do it, and the way they want you to do it doesn't work very well
yeah.
for a lot of people. So,
Right.
And,
and
and then they and then they
when I originally took the plea too, once they got acquitted, I tried to get out of the plea deal. Um, and I said, if they're not guilty of conspiracy, neither is anybody else. And she goes,
Right.
so well, doesn't she goes, even though they weren't guilty of a conspiracy and they're acquitted, that the argument is that doesn't mean there wasn't a conspiracy. That's what my lawyer told me. I said, yes, it does. Like, what do you mean? The
It
conspiracy
completely
starts with
does.
leadership. And I
Yeah.
said, what are you talking about? Anyway, like I was telling Jonathan, they won't let you out of the plea unless there's like some kind of miracle of evidence that comes in new and if you try to pull your plea, they penalize you for it and give you double what your plea is.
Oh,
So
wow.
basically,
man.
I didn't even try. Now, Jerry DeLamus, who was actually, his wife was like, I think, the head of the campaign in Michigan at that time for the Trump
Right.
campaign. They were very deeply involved in the campaign there, and I think it was New Hampshire.
Okay.
And don't quote me on it. I thought that's where it was, but and he took he took the same plea I did, and he tried to get out of it, and they went and let him out of it. So we're just kind of
Wow.
stuck. I got comfortable. I said, "Well, I'm going to be here for 6 years." Well, then when all the acquittals and all the crap they were doing in the courtroom, and the judge threw it out with prejudice, then I was kind of like, "What the heck?" But they did end up letting me out. So and everybody's free of it now, as far as I know, except for Greg Burleson. So
Right.
and but
Well,
Wow.
Gerald Abbott says under our comments here, I'm going to show these on stream. See if it's going to come in. So he says, I thought they were talking about the Mallard incident. This is this is an example where the feds got away with murder. No, it no it's or buts about it. You're absolutely right, Gerald Abbott. I mean, that was flat out cold blood murder. What the feds did, and just what they have put a lot of patriots through. And this comes. Here's. I'm just going to throw this out there, Blaine. You look at what's going on today in current time and events. What's going on? You've got people out ramming our ICE agents. They're out even shooting people, killing patriots. You know, we're seeing people like Tim Waltz just get away with anything and everything. Um, But then you got people like you guys and people like January Sixers, that ended up serving time, never charged, but these guys served time. Um, you know, most of them 4 or 5 years worth of time that they had to serve, um, without a charge one being filed on them. And so basically they're all political prisoners, kind of like you guys.
yes,
You, know?
yeah,
you
Oh
guys,
yeah.
you guys were being held prisoners for standing up for these ranchers that the government was wrongfully taking their land, taking their cattle, doing as they
Yep.
damn well pleased. This is the kind of crap that the American patriots, the American people are getting just totally fed up, even with the Trump administration right now. And and again, I tell people we got to stand strong together. We got to give Trump time to get this done as well. And might not be in our speed or the way we want to see things done, but just give him time and let this play out and see what happens in the end.
absolutely. That's what I try to tell people because a lot of people want to give up on Trump or be like, "Oh, we don't see arrests," and be like, "He's got a lot to." I mean, you got to think about. You had the Biden ran it into the ground so bad, and the Democrats ran it into the ground so bad. He's got a lot to fix. It's not going to happen overnight.
Hey
Um,
guys,
he's done so much
I gotta mute,
already. That's
I
just
gotta mute,
amazing.
I gotta mute my mic for a second. I got FedEx that just showed up. Hold on one
Oh,
second.
you're good to go.
Yeah, I agree. There's a we're at the point where the accountability is starting to really need to be installed. And watching all of these Minnesota hearings, supposedly, aka the dog and pony show. Um,
Right.
it's and I think we're just going to continue. We've only scratched the surface of the fraud, and I believe every state has it. And but those that tend to be blue and considered sanctuary states or cities, they're probably more steeped in it. However, I think every place. This is why it's such a big deal to start with the big um, arrests and hold the accountability. It's got to happen really soon. People are very,
Absolutely. It's
especially now that we've had the
if
shooting,
it's
with the ICE
just like the
agent.
famous. So go ahead.
Yeah, well, with the ICE
Sorry,
agent,
I
and
didn't
then you
interrupt.
take a look. It was in the same place that the whole Floyd incident began. What in the heck? This is crazy. So,
Well, it's like got the United States of America, but it's been invaded by third worlders who are eaten up alive. Look what just happened in New York. Who would have ever thought after
oh
nine
yeah.
11 that we would have something like that happen? And it blows my mind. And we're at war. It may not be
Yes.
it may not be a shooting war, but I mean it's a political war right now, and you got two different ideologies at each other's throats right now. You get
Mm-hmm.
people on the right who have common sense, and people on the left who are just loony and baloney. And
Right.
Yep.
especially with
Yep.
respect to Minnesota, like that is a cesspool. And you got people running their cars into federal agents, and
Uh,
then they play victim, and one of them gets shot. It's like, wait, don't run your vehicles into police officers, and you probably won't have a problem.
Well,
You know,
speaking of which,
right.
guys, I'm gonna share this real quick. This just came into me, and it looks like they are going to try to arrest Tim Waltz.
good.
Oh yes.
Let's see.
Yay.
An
Yay.
activist judge is probably going to throw that case out.
We'll see if it really happens. Hold on
Yeah.
a second. This just got sent over to me, so hold on a second.
So finishing up though, comment when it comes to the shooting yesterday with the ICE agents. Turns out this woman had identified as an ICE warrior.
Oh wow! Well,
Okay.
imagine that.
And
That does That's
a
not surprising
choice.
at all. I think we all
Not
could have
surprised.
kind of came
Could
up
have
with
You
kind of
that.
guys,
guessed that one.
Yeah.
can
All
you
right, I'm
guys hear
gonna
that? All
mute
right.
so we can hear. No, I don't hear anything.
How about now?
No.
Jeez. Okay. Were you guys able to hear that? Any of it?
No, sir.
Really? None of that came through.
No, sir.
It looks like we lost Julie here too.
Yeah, look, she dropped off there.
Yeah. So hold on a second. Well, on my end, it showed it was playing. So evidently, Facebook is trying to monitor this, or YouTube, one of them. But looks
Right.
like they're looks like they're trying to go after Governor Waltz as well. And they're also filing charges on him for calling the National Guard out to go against our ICE agents.
Good.
So it looks like it is gonna. They're trying to get it to proceed forward now.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah,
know that they had a bunch of testimony. I think the GOP told Trump arrest him. So
yep.
hopefully it'll stick, and that you don't have an activist judge try to throw out the case. And it just.
Well, if you got a Minnesota judge
I
that's
mean,
going to hear it, he's probably going to throw it out.
the only thing I could say, reopen Gitmo and throw him in there.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, evidently Julie is not in the backstage. Let me make sure. Okay.
There was talk about them reactivating Tim Walz into the military and then court martial him.
That'd be a good thing as well. What he what
I
he's
think
doing.
that I think military justice could handle that a little better than
Yeah,
the other court systems, but
yeah.
we'll
Well,
see what
Blaine,
happens.
I watched the footage where that gal, um, she actually did hit that um, border. I mean, the ICE agent guy.
She
She
did.
actually she actually hit him with the car. Um, you know, if it was me when I've shot her, um, if you're coming directly at me with your car, and they actually got the wheels lined right at them, I actually seen the actual close up footage of it, and they've just gone over it many times to make sure that's exactly what they're witnessing as well. Um, if you're coming directly at me with the car, chances are I'm going to shoot you dead. It's that simple.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, you got split second to make a decision to protect
yep,
your own life. And officer or not, if it were me or you, just as a citizen, I would probably shoot somebody. I
yeah,
don't want to get run over and get killed. And
right.
so, but they don't talk about that was the same ICE agent that got drugged. What was it, like 2 or 3 weeks prior? He got
Yeah,
he
drugged
got
to
drugged like
feet.
300 feet and he had to get
Yeah,
33 stitches.
yep.
So yeah, it's he's already had a bad experience. He's going to defend himself. And we could talk about accountability with law enforcement all day. I think that we need to have that, but we also need to let them do their jobs too. And to be honest with you, stay out of their way, let them do their job, and you probably
Well,
won't have problems with them.
well, that's the main thing. I mean, here she just got done dropping off her kids, to go out and do all this crap. It's like, if you're a mother, what the hell is your reason for even being down there? You
Right,
know, and come to find out, she was leading the charge all day long, taunting these guys, and then trying to trap them in and different things that they were doing. And,
right, right.
you know, and they just got this showing another person that did kind of similar to her, but he sped forward. The agent moved, but then he turned around and he backed his rig right up into the agent's rig. You know.
Yes, sir. Hang on, real quick, Jonathan.
Okay. Make sure we don't have any other common stance for you guys as well. Um, Anybody has any questions on today's broadcast as well, you can call into the studio 928-385-4738. We'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on today's broadcast, or you can reach out to us at yournewsarizona@gmail.com. And um, you guys are more than welcome to call into the studio anytime.
Sorry about that.
Oh, not a problem. So, again, we just got so much corruption still going on in the country right now. You know, I'm tired of seeing the patriots being incarcerated. it's the left that is should be truly being locked up right now. These are people that has gone with this crap so many years, and it's time. And I
It
think,
it really is time, and with respect to that, Republicans need to take a stronger stance and not put up with it. We've been little too weak with it. Honestly, I hope Trump invokes the Insurrection Act and just it, you almost have to. I mean, you've been invaded. What are you supposed to do?
and there's
Surrender
actually
the country?
talk of that right now that that might be the option they're going to go down.
And I know that the Supreme Court pretty much left the door open for that now. So
Yep. And if I was in Trump's shoes, that's exactly the route I'd go. Right here, right now. He's going to have to get it done. And and I'll tell you right now, Blaine, if we don't start seeing mass arrest, I see a rising coming in this country, and that's what I see.
yep.
And you know, and I'm not suggesting civil war or anything else like that. But what I am saying is the Democrats have already declared war on us. I mean,
Yeah.
we've even had politicians flat out inciting violence against us. People that's right wing or whatever you want to call us, or extremists is what they call us. Um,
Right. I would
but
say that their viewpoints are a little extreme too,
yeah.
in so much that they are willing to ram law enforcement trying to do their job. It
Well, you know,
and why would
yeah,
you want to stop them? A lot of these people they're picking up are pedophiles, rapists, murderers.
yeah,
They're not nice people,
none of it
and
makes sense.
so it just doesn't make sense at all that you've been invaded. They're foreigners. They're not even citizens of this country. And
Yeah, but you got to keep in mind, Blaine.
God
Human
for
tra-
go ahead. I'm
human
sorry.
tra- human trafficking, drug trafficking is a multi-trillion-dollar operation. That's what I mean. They make trillions off of this, and
Mhm.
and the cartel has their hands in the pot all over this country. We've been reporting on these judges that have been incarcerated over the last 6 months for working directly with the cartel. These are guys that are sentencing people like you or other people out there in this country that's been being locked up as they're working directly with the cartel. Um, you know, and again, the American people are tired of it, and
Yeah, it's infiltrated at every level. Now Trump did come out and say, I think I don't know if it was today or yesterday, but he was in an interview I think with Sean Hannity and said that they are basically going to start doing land strikes in Mexico. They know where everything is, and they should. I mean, Mexico clearly um, is not helping the situation. They're clearly not doing enough, and these drugs are coming into our country and poisoning our people, and
right.
makes it
Well, I thought
hard because a lot of the biggest customers for drugs are people in this country, and
right,
so it's it's not an easy battle to fight, but it's somebody's going to have to just be strong about it. Trump's going to have to just do what needs to be done, even though it's not a popular thing. It is what it
right.
is.
Well, if you're going to win this war on drugs, war on human trafficking, and if you're going to beat the cartel, you're going to have to their soil, and you're going to have to hit them hard and just get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah, because until they do that, it's just going to continue. There's just
Yes,
too
sir.
many of them out there, and too many of them already on American soil now as well. That came through under the Biden administration.
Absolutely. What was it like?
No,
What, 10, 20 million? Something
no,
stupid.
no, nobody's gotten it right.
I don't
So,
think anybody really knows there were so many of them.
well, talking with Homeland Security, seeing all the reports, it's been over 30 million that came through the borders. Those are the ones that were processed and released into our country, and that's not including the gotaways.
That's a
So,
big army.
and they're roughly guessing it could be even another 30 million gotaways. So, if you figure that out, we've got a lot of enemy on American soil,
Yes,
and
sir.
I'll tell you what, if we get into, if we get a war on our own soil, us patriots are going to have our hands full. Um,
Yes, sir. And that's it's a sad thing to think, you know, the Civil War, more Americans died in the Civil War than any other war.
yeah.
And Americans fighting Americans, and it should never have to come to that. But and
Well, I think
God
it's good.
forbid it doesn't. But if it does, sometimes we have to make hard choices to
Well,
preserve freedom.
I got a feeling it's going to be Americans fighting Americans plus Americans fighting the cartel and 150 different other countries that want death to America that's come through our borders. So
Absolutely.
we are going to have a double whammy here going on because we're not only going to be against the left, you know. I foresee that we're going to have 150 different countries that's poured through those borders, and a lot of them are terrorists that they know of.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a hell of a fight. And at the end of the day, I'm not even sure if we're going to win it.
I'm telling you, we're it's a war within. You know what I mean? It's well, how do you fight it?
Well,
Especially when you
personally,
got other Americans who are willing to defend the people that are coming in here doing it.
that's my exact point. We are heavily outnumbered, and nobody wants to hear that, but that's the reality, folks. With the amount of illegals that support to that border, and you got when I'm down on the border, Tim Foley, he could tell you, you know, hundreds and thousands of men coming through the border, men of fighting age, guys. I'm not, yeah, was there video footage of us with some women and children as well? Absolutely. But you know what? A lot of times when we're reporting, we had men from China come in, all of fighting age, Afghan, Russia, I mean, you name it, 150 different countries pouring through. And these were men of fighting age coming through. And I've got several different broadcasts we've done for our audience out there where they see nothing but men in, in my footage. And I'm talking hundreds at a time. And if you guys think these people just came over to have a better life, um, you might want to rethink your thoughts. So, and I'm not here to promote violence. I'm all about God, family, and country. But, again, I personally think the war's on our soil, and that's what I see. I think the Democrats have declared war on us. And I know I can tell you right now, they have definitely declared war on our ICE agents um, and our law enforcement. And it's just gotten to a point to where enough is enough, and we've got to be able to put a stop to it. And let's see. If you guys have any thoughts about this matter, again, feel free to reach out. And I'd like to hear your opinions on this matter. So, all right, guys. Appreciate Blaine. I see we are at about 4 minutes over the show time,
That's all right.
but that's all right. But love to have you back on live again. We're going to
Yes,
set you
sir.
up to where you have a slot on our channel, um, and love for you to get your information out to the American people.
Yes, sir.
And appreciate you guys joining in to Jonathan and Julie D in the morning. And sorry we lost Julie this morning. She's been having network difficulties. And other than that, we'll be live again tomorrow. Excuse me, today's Friday. I'll be live again Monday morning, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 9 Pacific. Hope you guys can tune in. And Blaine, I'll give you a call a little bit later, go over some details with you. After I get done in this meeting, I got to attend, and we'll see about making things work.
Great. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it.
You betcha. God bless you for all that you've been through and everything you're doing still to this day. And
Thank you.
appreciate
You
you.
too, sir.
Appreciate you always staying in the fight.
Yes,
And all right, guys. Appreciate you guys joining in today. We'll be again live again on Monday. God bless you guys.